Hi, welcome back to the Custom Model Guy. I know that we've been dark for a little while. The reason for this is we've been having some serious camera problems. I have been using a 600D, Canon 600D DSLR for the camera work, but it had been shutting down for no reason. You just get sort of 30 seconds, even 6 minutes in, and it just shuts off completely. And sometimes you wouldn't realise, so you carry on thinking you're recording and you're not recording. I have purchased a replacement camera. We now have a Canon 70D, and that's been tested and it's working absolutely fine. I can record up to 30 minutes without any problems at all. The remaining parts of this build series are made up with footage from the old camera, so it is a bit hit and miss. Suddenly you'll see parts appear on the model that you hadn't actually seen glued on. I can only apologise for this. The next build will be filmed in its entirety with the new camera. I have used the downtime to actually overhaul the entire look, so we have a new intro which you've already seen, and we have new footers and watermarks and all sorts of things. So let's get on with the build, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching, and hit that subscribe button to keep updated with our upcoming videos. After giving all the parts a good couple of coats with Zero Paint's grey primer, I moved on with some Zero Paint's matte black and started hitting some of those parts. This is the engine, I don't know what you call it really, engine undercover, chassis cover, airfoil, not sure, I'll look it up. Okay, Yahoo Answers have it as a skid plate, splash guard, splash plan, or big plastic protective thingy. Basic idea is that's going to keep the debris from getting where it doesn't belong. Yeah, personally I'm going to go with big plastic protective thingy. I like that. And this is the engine air intake. I know what that's called. And then moving on to the radiator and fan assembly. And after gluing the main engine block together, we hit it with some Zero Paint Silver. Unfortunately, the actual gluing of the engine was one of the pieces of footage that went missing due to the camera failing on me. And this is the pulley assembly, which features all of the alternator and stuff. In hindsight, that could probably be actually glued on to the engine block in one go, because it's just been sprayed the same. And then we have the engine brace, the cross brace, sorry. And we move on to things like the oil pan. The instructions here called for a different type of silver, so I went with the Vallejo Chrome. But to be honest, I mean, there's not a hell of a lot of difference in it at all. Once the piece is all together and fitted to the model, you really can't see them. Sorry, that previous piece looks like the part of the transmission. That's the oil pan. And then it was time for some Vallejo red on the main engine cover. Once the red was all dry, it was time to move in with some Vallejo matte black on the grills of the engine cover. This was all a bit fiddly, so I've sped this up 4 times speed for you. And now it's time for a little bit of assembly on the engine. Once all those pieces are dry, start to put those parts all together. As I said, there's very, very little difference in those silvers, so to be honest, in hindsight, again, I would have preferred to have done that all as one piece and glued it and then sprayed it. And for this, I'm just using some CA 4-second glue, super glue, basically. With those bits all mounted together, there was some parts that needed some black, so I used some Vallejo matte black again, just things like the engine mounts and bottom of the pans, I think. And then the main engine cover was mounted on the top. As you can see, the air intake has magically appeared on the side of the engine. Again, that was one of the pieces of footage that was lost. Now it's time to move on to the exhaust, so I used some True Metal Steel, which is a wax based paint, starting off with the headers and then moving on to the exhaust sections. As with the True Metal paints, you're supposed to leave it at least half an hour and then buff it up with a Q-tip cotton bud. Unfortunately, that was more footage that was lost. And then I weathered them slightly, and I gave them some tarnishing with some Tamiya weathering master kits. With that complete, it was time to move on to the chassis. So I used some Tamiya Gunmetal X10 and gave the chassis a couple of coats. See me just giving the headers some tarnishing. So this is using the Tamiya weathering master kits, and The idea here is that this is stainless steel that has been heat tarnished, so you give it some blue and some gold, just brush it on gently, and it just gives a slight colouring. And then the headers are fitted to the main engine block, again just with some CA4 second blue. There I decided the engine was looking too clean, so I used some Humbrol black wash, which is an enamel wash, and I just gave the engine a brush down with that, and it just makes all the details pop out with the black that sits in the grooves, and just makes it look less clean. Once that was dry, I did give it a quick buff off with a Q-tip cotton bud, and that just removes all the excess. Unfortunately, lost footage. And here I am fitting the big plastic protective thingy to the chassis. And then we're going to give the chassis some detail work with some Vallejo black and later on some Vallejo silver, just to give some definition to the chassis. Mounted the radiator fan assembly into the chassis. Followed by the main engine block. And then finally the main exhaust section was fitted into the chassis. And that's it for this video. Again, I hope you find that enjoyable. I hope you like the facelift that we've given to the channel. Like always, if you hit the subscribe button, you'll keep updated with upcoming videos, and you can see the previous build and the previous video here. You can also find us on Facebook. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.